All
Hey,
right.
it's me, Jimmy D, and welcome back to Knights the Geek Table. As you can tell, we have a special guest, um, Ross. Oh shit, fuck.
You gotta
I
keep.
didn't know your name was at all shit. That must come from a really important family, Ross.
Yeah, it's Greek.
Cool.
We're just we're I know we're gonna go on tangent, so we're gonna try to talk about oversaturation in superheroes, but we'll probably talk about a bunch more. So yeah, so this is gonna be interesting.
When I saw the new Spider-Man movie, I don't know how you felt about that one. Like, I'm kind of a huge Spider-Man fan, and I got out of the movie and I was like, it's good because it's a Marvel movie. It was good, but I'm just like, I'm so underwhelmed. I mean, just because I was expecting. So I mean, I know it was a Marvel movie, but I was like, I just had the Sam Raimi movies in my head, and I was just kind of, it's Spider-Man. They have to do something great with it, and it was
I,
like,
Yeah.
not
I
bad.
was sitting in the theater watching the trailer for Homecoming, and my mom was sitting next to me. And she's not the biggest comic book fan, but she'll still go see a comic book film. And once she saw the ending of Homecoming, she turned to me and she goes, "Really? They're making another Spider-Man movie?"
Yeah, that was a lot.
And
I
I'm
got a
like,
lot of
"Yeah,
those. Yeah.
but it's kind of like it's the new one. It's
Mhm.
Marvel. That was
Yeah.
Sony." And it's have to explain to a casual who's not deep into the comic lore. It's like, yeah, they're making another Spider-Man movie, but don't worry.
It's
This
another guy. It's a new British guy.
Yeah.
It's someone else.
Yeah,
I really love Spider-Man: Homecoming. Actually, I was surprised by how much I. It's actually one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm shocked by that. It's much like It, the
Yes,
new It.
yes.
I really didn't enjoy it. I was shocked by that. So I'm an enormous Stephen King fan, and that movie looked fantastic, and I just didn't like it. So it's weird, like
that's interesting.
weird
That's weird.
things like that. I'll either think things I found this year, especially this year, things I've been really excited for have been average. Things I thought might be stupid were okay, and things I thought might be okay were really good. Like the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, that was.
because I'm getting in the shower.
I mean, it still feels like kind of two. Like if you, I rewatched it recently. I was like, it still feels like two movies, really.
I've never cared about Power Rangers in my life.
Mhm.
And for some reason, I was super into that movie. It's not like my like a 9 out of 10 or anything, but I thought it was good
Well,
for what it
it's something
was.
because it's. I mean, it's technically a superhero movie, but it's
Yeah.
different, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
just like
different.
it
Yeah.
catches you off guard, and you're like, wow, okay, I'm on board.
And in terms of superhero oversaturation, Power Rangers kind of points to we have like a generic plot structure that you can structure any story around, and Kingsman does the same thing, where it's based on a graphic novel that I haven't read the graphic novel, but I assume it has kind of that structure. But this sort of origin movie structure that superhero movies have pioneered, and I think that's more why people feel tired of superhero movies more and more, because we're not just seeing the formula and the story in their movies and the movies you expect to see them in. We're also seeing them in other movies.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about this uh Power Rangers even being superheroes until you said it because like you know, yes, it has the superhero plot basically step by step, but Krispy Kreme was just so good that um I couldn't.
I gotta say, after the movie, I heard a couple reviewers like, "Oh God, product placement," but I heard it in the movie, and I was like, "All right, I'm good." I mean, they're so upfront with it that I'm like, "All right, you know what?
Yeah.
Why not?"
It gets so blatant that you hear it a few times, it's bad, then it circles around to being good, then you get annoyed, and then it circles back around where you're like, oh, so the climax of the movie takes place under like the all powerful criminal, and they're saying Krispy Kreme in their big fight like 50 times. I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
It could
This is
Come on, man, we gotta get that
fantastic.
product placement.
it could have
Amazing.
been worse because
Oh yeah.
I read an interview that the creator and director of the Power Ranger movie, um, and basically they were at a McDonald's for a lunch while filming, and they're like, they looked up at the golden arches and was like, we need some iconic symbol that's so generic that
Oh.
who would think that the Zeo crystal would be there? Well, they couldn't get McDonald's.
Oh
You
yeah,
think?
that's rough. You got to settle for Krispy Kreme. That's
Yeah.
that's horrible, horrible artistic quandary there.
Like just the fact that the Power Rangers could have been saying, we have to stop them from getting to the McDonald's.
We have to get to McDonald's because where I live, there's no Krispy Kremes around. There are a couple McDonald's. I know for a fact that I went and saw with my friend, and we've been talking about Krispy Kreme nonstop since we saw it. I know for a fact that if it had been McDonald's, every time I wanted to get food, I'd turn to like grab him on the shoulder, like, "We gotta get to McDonald's," like something like that. It'd be a line that I would say over and over.
It
again.
would have worked so well though, because the sequel could have been the Moon Man from the '90s commercials
God.
coming to life because he looks like a Power Ranger villain.
They're not
That's perfect. Anyway, superhero oversaturation.
Yes,
That
yes.
we're supposed
Sorry.
to be talking about.
Sorry about that.
That's me too. I get off topic very easily. So
Yeah, superhero. We've talked everything about
That's like our
superhero.
main thing. We just start on one topic and just ramble. That's to the
Yeah.
7-minute video.
this is why I work better with scripts for
Yes.
videos.
We've tried. We actually
Because we'll find
had
something in the
talking
script
points.
that's like, no, that's too stupid. We have to talk about it
Right.
for 25 minutes.
I think okay. So me and Sol were actually we kind of were running ideas by each other beforehand, and we had talked about just the two TV series of Marvel and then DC, and how we kind of like. Personally, I enjoy the DC stuff more than the Marvel stuff. Like, the Marvel stuff is good, and I enjoy watching it, but...
Are you classifying the Netflix stuff as
Yes,
TV
yes,
stuff too?
yes.
You're talking TV, not movie. Okay.
Yeah. Because while DC... it's CW shows, yes. But they're all kind of clustered together. While the Marvel shows, you have... they're on Netflix, they're on ABC, now they're on Hulu. And, like, there's just so many of them. And now, like, Fox has theirs. I know it's not connected, but
It's an X-Men thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
they got
that is very
Legion
much.
on FX. They've got Gifted that's coming to Fox. So, yeah.
Mhm.
It's like it's so spread out that you have to, in order to watch these shows, you have to pay for this. In order to do this, you have to pay for this.
Well, that's on purpose. It's a business decision. I mean, Disney's saying let's cast as wide of a net as we can on every platform that we can. That's what it is. I mean, it sucks that you can break down all of this stuff and just it's just money, but that's what it is in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Which I would be okay if, like, you're making us pick and choose for some products that are good and some that aren't. That's like, at least when everything's on Netflix, it's like, okay, you're paying for one service and half of it is good, half of it is bad. Or even with like CW, to where it's like it's free. Okay, even if this isn't good, this isn't bad. You're paying for all these different services.
Yeah.
Or to give these companies money, and it's like, if the show is shit. That's the bad thing, kind of, about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this at this point in time. Do you guys feel that is it gone too far? Is it bad, or is it getting there, or?
I think we're close to critical mass. I feel like there's not much more you can do because TV is totally inundated with superhero stuff, and we're getting 3 Marvel movies a year, 2 DC movies a year, stuff like Kingsman, stuff like Atomic Blonde, where we're getting graphic novels adapted. Then we're getting a new Watchmen series on HBO coming up, Damon Lindelof's doing it, I think, and all this stuff is coming up. And we're at the point now where, like with Watchmen, we're even covering the same material over and over again now. Like we need superhero content out there so much that we're going to take something that was already done and do it again.
My fear is that, and this is what I think they're starting to realize. I know you don't watch much anime, but they're now starting, because we're so oversaturated from graphic novels and superheroes, they're starting to now dip into the more anime and Japanese animation and trying to Americanize that. Like,
Which always
works
out well.
Yeah, I know. It's great. They're already like green lighting all these shows from the West because they realize, well, we're like scraping the bottom of the barrel over here. We have a whole another continent where we can just pick and choose from their vast majority of stuff to totally butcher.
Honestly, like we talked about when we did Death Note. Death Note is 2 different movies. If you are a fan of the anime,
if you're a fan, it's the worst movie you've ever seen.
But if you're just a generic movie person,
I mean, I would argue that it's still not particularly great. Just
no, it's so bad it's fucking hilarious.
I think it's a great comedy.
Oh, it's the best comedy this year.
It's the best comedy I've seen. Like,
just the fact,
hilarious.
The fucking Ferris wheel scene is by far one of the best scenes I've ever seen because the music didn't match.
Here's the thing, because the Ferris wheel was at the very end. You know this is going to be.
Oh, the music.
You know this is going to be a great movie when he first meets Ryuk and he freaks out like a little bitch.
Oh,
that just cracked me up so bad.
Yeah.
The fucking a ladder doesn't do that shit.
Yeah.
But
maybe it does.
maybe I'm just at the wrong end of the ladder.
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't understand.
Well, I think with anime adaptations, like in terms of you saying they're kind of culling from anime now because we're running out of graphic novel stuff. I think it's when it comes to adaptations, you have to be careful and make sure that what you're adapting kind of suits that new form it's taking.
Mm-hmm.
Like take Death Note, where they try to condense a lot of stuff. And I haven't watched the anime. I don't know what they condensed or changed. But they have to condense. Yeah, they have to condense a lot into an hour 40 or whatever it was. Or take Ghost in the Shell, where you have a movie and you're essentially remaking it, but you have a different audience with different ideals. And then you have comic books where you have 60 plus years of history and you're trying to condense that down. And that's why I think Marvel has succeeded continually, because they started with Iron Man and made a very simplistic world there, and they're building from that. And all the prequel stuff they've done has been ballooned off of stuff that they have done and had success with. Whereas with something like Batman v Superman, you have these references to Flashpoint and to even the scene where Lex Luthor opens his laptop and opens the emails. If you know nothing about comic books, like there's some nerd rage to be had, like, oh, that's how you introduce the Justice League. But I that's story structure stuff too, where that's your sequel bait essentially, and these are characters you're supposed to care about just on first glance. But if you just look at them, like, you're not gonna, like, if I didn't know that was supposed to be Aquaman, if I didn't know that was supposed to be the Flash, like, you wouldn't get that. So I think part of oversaturation, or at least oversaturation, has come as a result of building up something completely new, having it become so big, and having everyone wanting to imitate that, but not being able to do it in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would ask the question then. I mean, do you think, because DC's been having, aside from like Wonder Woman, which was okay in my opinion, DC's been having a really, really tough time catching up or even doing anything close to Marvel. Do you think that at some point Marvel will just keep trucking along and all the people trying to imitate them will just kind of fall away?
I don't know, because like everything's doing cinematic universes now.
But
everything.
Godzilla's doing. I mean, the MonsterVerse failed. I mean, DC's reevaluating their life now. It's like,
well, I don't know. They're doing it with Godzilla. They're doing it with the Mummy. I think they're still trucking along with the Mummy stuff. Like, the Dark Universe isn't dead yet. They got Johnny Depp on board. They're gonna get some money.
Oh
yeah.
Big box office draw.
Yeah, they got not just that. They got Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
A role he was born to play.
I mean, he has played everything else. Why not play nothing you can see?
Exactly. Oh, he's so versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
well, unless you want him to play an actual like normal person, then you can't do that.
No, Johnny Depp doesn't do normal person. He at least needs a box full of makeup. He can't do a normal person.
Did anybody see Transcendence? The movie.
No, I refuse.
Program. No. It's so funny. He's trying to play a normal guy, and he can't do it. It's so bad.
I don't think he has to do. I don't think he has. At this point, he picks stuff that he doesn't have to try very hard for. So being able to play up and play goofy is easy. Like, I'm not an actor, and I've had very minimal acting experience. But I would think that doing Jack Sparrow would be easier than like really having to sink your teeth into a dramatic script.
That's true. Especially, I mean, you can't even get Johnny Depp on. I think his like lowest salary is like $92 million.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can't even get him if like, it's just.
Also, he's not a very normal person, just kind of in general. He's
Yeah.
kind of a crazy old drunk, so
Yes. I mean, when you said about put him in a pirate suit, it reminds me of I constantly see the little like Tumblr post on Facebook about Pirates of the Caribbean saying, "Oh, this scene was not written in the script," and
Right.
and then like eventually like was this even movie written? Like I think it's just Johnny Depp being thrown on a ship.
Yeah, it's there's so much improv.
All right, Johnny, we're gonna throw you in a green room. We just need you to act for 4 hours.
worked out great for The Hobbit. So I'm no problem. Anyway, superheroes.
Yeah, let's not go
This
down
is
that
just-
train.
Just call this episode Tangents, the podcast, because
For real. That should
Um,
be our name.
The one thing that I do kind of want to, I guess, as we're wrapping up, I do want to kind of cover was the fact we did talk about earlier of Logan and the possibility of, with it being October and the start of Oscar season, 20th Century Fox throwing out the chance of it being Best Picture. And first of all, does it deserve to be nominated, and does it deserve to win?
you go ahead.
Oh, I think it definitely deserves to be nominated. But as far as winning, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think it'll win. I'd honestly be surprised if it won. But I wouldn't mind if it won. I thought it was a very good movie. I mean, it's just, it would be nice to see them break like it's a superhero movie, kind of break that stigma and just give it, because the only thing that's done that thus far is, well, okay, Oscar-winning Suicide Squad, but like The Dark Knight is the only other one.
Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight was, when it came to Best Picture, that's why they do the 10 nominations, because it used to be 9,
yeah.
And then Dark Knight came out and we're like, this was so good, they should have won, at least been nominated. So then they bumped it up to 10.
Yeah.
Which is why we get stuff like Lion being nominated and all this stuff. Like I think they should bump it back down to 5. I mean, they want to get some mainstream stuff in there because I think it's mainly for audience interest, Oscars wise, because people care less and less about the Oscars.
Like, I have my own personal beef with the Oscars, because a lot of it is just Hollywood pretty much patting themselves on the back.
It's an industry awards show. Like I don't take a lot of
praising
stock
more
in it.
artistic films that no one's ever heard of. I've come to the understanding of that, and that's where they throw occasional, critically audience-pleasing movies every now and then.
Well, because I'm like a film student asshole now, I go see all these movies. This was the first, but it's new because last year was my first year at university, and it was the first year I'd seen all the Best Picture nominees before the Oscars, and I feel like maybe 5 of them I enjoyed enough. Well, no, that's not fair. I enjoyed quite a few of them. But, like Mad Max Fury Road being nominated a couple of years back, like if Logan gets nominated, I feel like it'll be like the Mad Max nomination. Like, we know y'all liked this. I mean, I feel like even if people like Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner enough, they'll throw that a bone too. Like it's like critical love seems to win over, but also kind of if they want to just pat someone on the back well. And if you can do a superhero movie well enough, like Logan
I think it's not only get nominated for Best Picture, it should get nominated for directing, supporting actor, and at least Best Actor.
I hope Best Actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about directing. I don't know about directing. I feel like I liked how it was directed. I really loved it, but I feel like maybe they'll go for some more like artistic stuff because it's real gritty.
I don't want Dunkirk to win.
Really?
Dunkirk was, I don't know. I thought that was great.
I thought it was great. Yeah. I do, and I thought it's just I'm not as big of a giant Christopher Nolan fan as a lot of.
Well, I'm not I didn't like the third Dark Knight movie.
I didn't hate the movie.
I'll praise him when he does stuff good and when he does stuff bad. But I thought Dunkirk was good.
Yeah,
right. I
like the movie. I just don't want. He's going to be nominated for directing, and I don't want him winning because of the fact Chris Nolan, he's rated long shots. He's known for doing these fantastic TED Talks on why we need to preserve film, and it's just, and because it's just one of those where Hollywood's kind of patting themselves back, like, come on, Chris, you got this. Preserve the art of film. We're going to give you director. Don't worry.
Well, it's sort of predictable, but I feel like I was talking to my friend the other day about how there aren't really a lot of movies. So I know Oscar season is coming up now, but you hear buzz about I've been hearing about La La Land for a while. I've been hearing about Moonlight for a while. Besides Dunkirk, I can't really think of a more mainstream audience accepting
Planet of the Apes.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, Planet of the Apes was a very like competent movie. It was very beautiful and it was good. I don't think it did anything particular, like spectacular.
Yeah, typically with the Planet of the Apes, they're more talked about when they come out. This one just kind of came out and disappeared about as quick as it came out.
Those who saw it really liked it, but then it just kind of.
Well, I was neutral towards it, but I mean, there's only so much you can do with like the freaking Planet of the Apes. I think people are like, okay, great, yeah, we got it.
They need to do more of a time jump because it seems.
Yeah, maybe.
It seems like I was interested in the first couple of Planet of the Apes because it was trying to bridge that gap between what the beginning of the Planet of the Apes and what actually happened down the road. But now it's been like 3 movies later, and we're only like a few years after the beginning.
Yeah, there need to be a time jump. You don't need to start exactly where the original, but even if you're just a decade back, I can see that.
I don't know. Personally, I'm kind of done with the 8 films. I really am not. I'm just meh.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's one of my more personal films of the year.
Yeah. It's hard to predict like what more mainstream movies are going to get Best Picture nods.
Yeah.
Logan, I think be like a fairly easy one to predict. You have a
general idea when a really fancy art house film comes out. It's like, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to get nominated. But with mainstream, every year it becomes a lot more harder to pick. Like, maybe this one might get it. Maybe this one might.
Yeah.
And again, I had a point. I just lost it in my head. Someone else talk. I lost it. Fill the space. God damn it.
Best actor, yes. Best supporting actor, yes. I can see it.
No, I'm fine with that. Hugh Jackman's performance was great.
Yes.
But I'm just like, as far as impact goes in that movie, I think Patrick Stewart's performance was just better in general.
I was weeping at the end of the movie, like when he had.
There's a lot of people weeping at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. I think I was the only one in the theater. I think it was opening weekend, and I was there with my friend who I watched the X-Men movies with him when I was a kid, like the first 3 as they were coming out.
Yeah.
And then my other friend who doesn't know anything about anything movie related, and I was just like bawling my eyes out as it was closing, and they were just both like staring at me, like, don't look at me.
Judge me. I love these films.
I was like, I was okay, and then it was the scene where he's sitting there and he says, "So that's what it feels like," because he's finally dying. And I was like, when he said that line, I was like, oh.
Yeah. But he got me, and then when she like hugged him and said "Daddy," I was like, oh no, you got me.
That's the one that broke me. When she's holding his hand, it's like, so this is what it feels like. Death, Daddy. I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna cry. Okay, I'm gonna cry. Wrap it up.
Logan was very kind of. Like, it was a brutal movie, and that's why I think the Oscars might go for it, because you look at The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight was dark, and it was gritty, but it was still...
It was a crime drama with Batman in it.
Yeah, but I think it was... If it had been like an R rating, and they had like really pushed the violence and stuff, that might have made it stick out a little bit more among like the comic book movies.
For a while, it answered that fan thing that a lot of people... who love Wolverine. It's like, man, I would love to be Wolverine. That should be amazing. I love it. Logan was that movie that kind of sort of like, I remember, you would love to be Wolverine. You think that what Wolverine does is amazing and that, he's one of the best ever. Okay, you wanted this. So here, we're going to show you Logan. That like, I won't be you, man.
Yeah, I don't want to be you anymore. I changed my mind. The fantasies are gone. All those childhood fantasies, I look back on them, I was a fool. It's miserable.
Instantly go cut your hair.
Yeah, actually, it seems like with superhero movies in the Oscars, especially, they kind of go towards more unique stuff, like Logan, where we've seen old man, sad, violent stuff in movies before, but like to put it on a character like that, like Logan. And I mean, last year I remember hearing, I don't know if this is entirely true, but I remember hearing that there was apparently a big movement in the Academy to get Deadpool to Best Picture. Yeah, like it was off by a few votes to be on the ballot. I heard that. Like it was like less than 100 votes to be.
There was a lot of fan support, Academy support of everyone pushing. Like Deadpool should make it. So I think it's another reason why it's probably guaranteed they will throw Logan onto it. It's like, we're not having another Deadpool thing. We will put him on the vote. He might not win it, but we will put him on.
Yeah, I mean, Logan also has a sort of like. It's not it's a smart movie in how it's executed, but it's also got stuff like, oh, the villain is an evil version of Wolverine. Like, oh, you mean like the bad parts of Wolverine are his worst enemy? Oh, wow, I get that. But that was like clever, but at the same time, it's like not too clever. Like it's clever enough to get. So
I was rewatching some scenes on YouTube, and I was laughing at the part where it's like he meets the son of Stryker from the second movie, and he's like, I don't know if you recognize me. You killed my father. And he's just like, no, just stabs him. And we're like, well, that was just a waste of the villain you just brought out of nowhere.
Where was he? He pops up. When's the first time he even shows up? Because I remember him like.
He shows up at the very end when Ajax is like collecting all the kids, and he's just like, find them and kill them. We need more subjects.
Yeah. I don't think he was the son of Stryker. I think he was just the kid of some guy. I don't think he was supposed to be Stryker.
I think he was the son of Stryker.
I think he was the son of Stryker.
He was the son of
Stryker. I
Stryker.
remember that because he just randomly showed up and was like, "Hey, you killed my dad," and I was like, "Wow, I don't care."
Yeah, that's why he just randomly kills him, and it's like, okay.
Your son, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, even if he is or isn't his son, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it wasn't even that big of a deal.
Yeah. Just a dude.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, that pretty much wraps everything up. So, thank you for joining us, Ross. We appreciate it.
I'm glad we stayed so on topic, man.
I know, right?
I'm glad I helped.
Welcome to the club, Ross.
Yeah, welcome to the club, because this is Tangent City.
Great.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And like always, I will see you in the next one. Later.
Check out Ross's channel, too.
Oh, yeah. Link in the description.
I make videos sometimes.